Good morning and welcome to the DFS Army YouTube channel. I am Razzle11 and you can find me on X at Razzle11Grinds. Going to take a look at some pitching for today, the 2nd of April. It is Wednesday. We do have a 10-game day main slate on DraftKings. FanDuel split theirs up kind of differently. Kind of frustrating from a content standpoint, but it is what it is. As always, we'll be looking at DraftKings since that is where a majority of my action is. If you do play on FanDuel, you can cut my pool into a half or a third. Maybe not today, just because things are so spread out, but in general, over there, you don't have to be as creative at pitcher. Stack pricing isn't quite as tight, so you are still able to get in one of the top few stud arms on a particular slate. We do have some interesting pitching matchups on this slate of games. I've spent the last half hour or so looking at some props, trying to get an idea of where I want to go. 20 pitchers to choose from. We are starting to see SP1s cycle back in. So we do get the 1v1 matchups in a lot of places. A lot of totals are spread out, thankfully. A little more spread out today than they were opening day. But for the most part, I think most games are in the 7 to 8 range. I think we do have one game at 6.5. And one pitching matchup for sure that's at 8.5. Actually, two games that might be an 8.5 or three. I just keep finding them, but there are a few games around 8.5. I don't believe any games are above 8.5, but let's take a look. Since we will be diving in, looking at the DK Sportsbook for some lines and props action to help us kind of get an idea of some of the pitchers that we do want to dig into more leading up to the start of the slate in about 9.5 hours. Let's jump into the odds here. As far as game line standpoint, a few spots that do stand out here. We get the great pitching matchup of Skenes versus Pepiot. I'm a Pepiot or Pepiot fan. He gets a very weak and struggling Pittsburgh lineup, but yet Skenes is a minus 125 favorite. Game total of 7, one of the lowest on the slates. I believe there is only one other lower at 6.5, and that's a very strong pitching matchup as well. The Tampa Bay offense has been getting it done a bit. Obviously, the Skenes matchup is far more difficult for them than the last handful of matchups. But I think I'm going to lean Pepiot in that matchup, to be honest. I will be playing plenty of Skenes. There's no doubt about that. But I really like the spot for Pepiot, who had 8 strikeouts in 6 innings in his first start of the season. Decent pitching matchup between Cole Ragans and Freddie Peralta. Total of 7.5, juice a little bit on the over. It's still pick 'em right now, which has come down a little bit. It opened up as Milwaukee as the favorite. Milwaukee's bats have struggled enough, so Ragans, who wasn't particularly sharp on opening day, has some upside. Freddie Peralta was solid enough, so I do think he's in play. I just don't know if he's all that exciting from a upside standpoint, but we'll see as we get into the props more and more and get an idea. Sonny Gray kind of popped out to me just because the Angels offense hasn't been doing a whole lot, and he is a minus 155 favorite right now. One of the games was an 8.5 total, so that is one thing holding me back a little bit. I haven't seen any weather to get an idea of which games could see some more offense. That's something we're going to have to take a look at in the morning as our weather station gets updated at DFS Army. Pablo Lopez, massive minus 185 favorite. I believe the Twins are the second highest favorite on the slate, behind the Mets. Game total 7.5, juice on the under. Sean Burke, maybe he's in play. I don't know if I want to go there, but the Twins offense has been absolutely horrendous to begin the season. I do know that they scored a few runs on Tuesday night, but overall, pretty struggling offense coming from the Twins right now. Don't think we're going to end up on Burke, but he is on a short list. Shouldn't even say short list. My list initially is pretty long. Um, so we do have to find ways to trim that down because there's no way that I am playing 15 pitchers on this slate. McKenzie Gore, massive opening day start, showcased his ability and upside. Now travels on the road as a minus 135 road favorite. A little shocking, but again, part of it might have to do with the fact that they're facing Easton Lucas, making, I believe it's his major league debut. Gore, the big thing for me, as we'll see going on, K prop at 5.5 with juice on the under. I don't think it's a great K matchup. I do wonder about people trying to chase that opening day start because they missed out on it. I am one that missed out on it, even though I'm a huge Gore fan. So I'm not sure I'm going to get there. Some of his numbers look good, and then some of the props don't look all that great for this spot. Uh, Preview his outs prop is at 16.5 with juice on the under. His runs prop's at 2.5 juice on the under. He does have plus 170 win odds, so that is, I don't know, let's see, maybe 6th or 7th on the slate. Actually, it might be a little lower because there are a couple of strong pitchers that don't have win odds, or at least didn't when I initially looked. So there's just some underlying things with his props in this matchup that I'm just not sure that I want to get to Gore. The Cubs A's matchup, I will pick on Tyon with bats. Jeffrey Springs, a guy that we utilized in his first start, and I think we're going to utilize him in this one as well. Obviously, not quite as great of a strikeout matchup as his first start against Seattle, where he struck out 9 in 6 innings. But he's somebody that has shown some upside previously with the Rays. Coming off of some elbow issues, I was shocked to see 6 innings out of him, but he did complete it in 83 pitches. I would guess we'll probably see 6 more innings out of him. There isn't an outs prop out for him, but we have seen some runs in this ballpark. So the total at 8.5 with juice on the over, I think it's going to end up being the highest total game that we see, at least initially at open. Some of that could change, but it'll be interesting to see if that changes at all. I do like Springs' upside, but we're going to kind of have to wait and see on that in the morning and make a decision from there. Dylan Cease in a game with a game total 7.5, juice on the over. Cease is a minus 185 favorite, so he has moved up. He opened at minus 180. Cleveland was just absolutely dominated by King. Cease is a stronger pitcher. It's going to be hard to not play Dylan Cease, especially because he is tied at the top, or actually in second, for odds to get the W at plus 140. Tied with Skubal for the second spot as of right now. On the next game, great pitching matchup. Skubal on the road in a matchup that we've been picking on Seattle with guys because of the K upside. Mize was strong on Tuesday night. We just talked about Jeffrey Springs and what he did in his opener against Seattle. Skubal, reigning Cy Young winner. Game total 6.5. Skubal minus 125 favorite. K prop is at 7.5, and he is plus 140 to pick up the W. It's going to be hard to not play Skubal, to be honest. I think he is the number one spend option on this particular slate. Framber Valdez at home. Game total 7.5 juices on the over, but he is a minus 162 favorite. His K prop's 5.5 juice on the over. He is plus 150 to get the W, which is the same as Cole Reagan's. And his outs prop at 17.5 juices on the over. So we should see a 6+ inning start out of Framber. I know the Giants offense has done a little bit of damage to a degree, but I think Framber is just in a solid spot to get us fantasy points. Uh, One guy that I'm going to end up on, Clay Holmes. It's all the way up to a minus 205, opened up at minus 198. He's got the best win odds at plus 130. K prop of 4.5 juices on the over. This is something that we want to talk about. Is he in his first start? He only racked up, I think, 4 strikeouts, but he got to a 2-strike count on 20 different hitters in that matchup. He just wasn't able to pick up these strikeouts. Uh, it's something to pay attention to. I want to believe that he's going to find a way to put a couple more guys away and get us enough strikeouts to match some of the stronger pitching options. And it also helps, I think, that Combs is still fairly cheap. Taking a look, yeah, it's 7K to have his kind of numbers, the props, and everything. I think he's going to be a really popular SB2 paired with Scooble on the slate. No, we're running a little out of time here, but uh, we'll take a look at some of these strikeout props. Paul Skenes has moved from juice on the under to juice slightly on the over. Obviously, something we want to pay attention to. Pepiot is 6.5 juice on the under. Reagan's 6.5, almost a coin flip. Freddie Peralta at 5.5 with juice strongly on the over. Uh, it does look like it's trending towards getting to the 6.5 number. So that's something to pay attention to. If it does jump, uh, definitely have to take that into consideration. Sonny Gray, 6.5 juices strongly on the under. It's not somebody I play for a lot of strikeouts, anyways. Um, and if I remember correctly, was a super strong pitcher at home last season. Yeah, vast difference in his overall numbers between the home and road splits. Just 5 home runs allowed in 16 starts at home with St. Louis. And being at home again, great spot for him against a struggling Angels offense to begin the season. Pablo Lopez has moved from 5.5 to 6.5. Juices on the under now, but he did move up a level in his K prop. Definitely want to pay attention to that because I have a feeling it's going to move closer to uh, not over 6.5, but it is going to maybe get to a minus 130, 135 range on the under because I do expect his number to keep moving up after a so-so start to the season. McKenzie Gore, like I did mention, K prop of 5.5. Juices on the under, just slightly, but still juice to the under. Springs 5.5, but juices on the under. That actually moved from 4.5 at open. So there has been movement on over for him already at this point. So another thing that we definitely want to pay attention to because it keeps rising. Makes me feel better and better about my desire to include Springs in my pitching pool. Dylan Cease 5.5 juices on the over. Seems low, but I also don't want to overreact to Cleveland striking out a bunch against King. Scooble 7.5, but on the under. So he has fallen behind Skenes now for the best K prop on the slate. Clay Holmes 4.5, juices pretty strongly on the over. So there we kind of dig into the K props. But there's that first look at pitching. Is there anybody that stands out to you? Hit the comments with guys that you might want to take a chance on in their particular matchups. I think it's going to be Springs for me. You let me know if I'm out of my mind. I could see you guys probably talking about not playing Farmer Valdez, and I won't blame you. But I do think he has some upside in the spot. So there we have it. If you enjoy what I bring to you, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn the notification bell on, and get the alert anytime we drop videos here at DFS Army. If you want to join us, get access to our coaches, tools, sheets, Discord, etc. I'll put links in the description below. You can still use promo code FIRSTPITCH for 20% off per month for life. Make sure you hit the links. And as always, best of luck, everybody.